Hello, and welcome to the 500 Workshop. Today we're going to be fitting a sports exhaust in our 500F. So the sports exhaust that we're going to be fitting on this car is an IMASAF or IMASAF exhaust. This is made in Italy. You can purchase them from FD Ricambi. This one is to fit the 500 FL models. And the important thing is here the kind of exhaust pipes, so that determines what cars it can fit because of the positioning of those. So this is a really nice model. It's kind of got the normal collector here, or very standard collector that you see on the standard exhaust, but then it has a twin pipe here, and it comes with that all sellotaped and covered. The welding looks really nice, really clean welding. No kind of big lumps of weld anywhere. So yeah, it looks really nice. We're going to see what this sounds like on the car. First thing we're going to do before we fit the car is to take the tape off and the protector off here where it's clearly being painted. And try and do this by hand rather than with a knife or anything, so I don't damage it. There we go, nice chrome tips on here. And there we go. And then if we look in the end of the exhaust here, you can see rather than a wide open pipe, it is restricted. Now, this particular exhaust is a racing exhaust, so it's produced to be used for racing. What that means in terms of sound is that, or performance, is hopefully it will give the car engine a little bit more performance, but also it's going to be louder. And depending on the country you live in and the specification of the local laws, it may or may not be too loud for your country. That's your decision and your choice. We'll hear it at the end of the video, so you can understand what it sounds like and how it might differ from a standard exhaust. Before we fit our new sports exhaust, let's see what the standard exhaust sounds like. Okay, so before we take the old exhaust off, here we have the manifold. We have one this side and one the other side of the head. On here we have two 13mm bolts. We also have two 13mm nuts here and here, which I've already started loosening. Now these ideally should be brass nuts. They don't have to be, but you want brass nuts so they don't seize onto these studs, because the heat going through the exhaust all the time, there's a lot of swelling. You get a lot of rust on these bolts as well, and often the exhaust is in place for a long time. And so if you use brass nuts, these won't seize onto your studs and will make removing the exhaust easier in future. So we're going to take those two off, and we're going to do the same on the other side. As we do it, the gaskets will fall out as well, so we need to make sure we catch those gaskets, and we can inspect them and check the condition. The gaskets we've got on this one are copper gaskets. You can see them here. Let's take the manifold off a second. So these are copper gaskets. Don't look very coppery at the moment because they're being heavily used. You can see that this has got a little bit of carbon build-up on it. These tend to be reusable. You don't want to reuse them too many times, and if you do, you want to clean them up first. We're not going to reuse those. We've got a nice new set today. You're going to need two of each of these set for both sides. The copper ones are more expensive, but they are slightly more reusable. They do get crushed, obviously, every time you tighten it up, so you don't want to reuse them too often. But they also have much less chance of blowing. The alternative, these ones, which come in most gasket sets. If you buy an engine gasket set, these are the ones that they normally come with. These are slightly cheaper. They can, not necessarily will, but they can blow occasionally. They're kind of a metal ring inside a high heat kind of, it's a bit like a cardboard really, but not sure what it's actually made out of. Yeah, both will do fine, but we're going to use the copper gaskets. So that's the manifolds off both sides. As you can see, these copper gaskets are similar condition, so clearly been some gases just putting a bit of carbon build-up on those gaskets, but we are going to replace those, so that's not a problem. Put our elbows to one side and then focus on the next part of the job. So to get access to the exhaust bracket, which is down here, the first thing we're going to do is remove this plate. This is 2 screw bolts. You might have 10mm bolts in here, but they just need removing to remove that plate. Put our plate to one side. Now our exhaust is held on by 2 nuts, one here and one here, and one from the underneath, which I'll show you in a second. And that's the upper bracket. There's 2 parts to the exhaust bracket. There's an upper and a lower. This is the upper part here, so 2 nuts there. And this is the lower piece here, which we'll have a look at underneath in a minute as well. And that has 2 nuts, all 13mm, so we'll be taking those off. So underneath the car here, you can see the bottom of the exhaust, and you can see as it wraps around. And there's 2 13mm bolts that go through and clamp that exhaust on there. So we'll also be taking those off, and that should allow us just to easily remove the exhaust. I'll start with these upper ones. So that's those 2 13 nuts removed, and now we're going to go underneath and remove the 13 bolts. So our bolts from underneath are out, and now we can just remove these top parts of the brackets. There we go. Now the easiest way to get this particular exhaust out is to drop it through the bottom. To do that we need a bit of height on the car, so we're just going to jack the car from the rear jacking point. Then we're going to take the 2 13 nuts that are left. Difficult to see here, but let's try, and there's one, and there's one on the other side of the bracket. Just focus that. So there's one on the other side. And then we should just be able to lift it up off of these studs and just drop it down through the bottom. So we lifted the car slightly. You're going to get those 2 13mm nuts off, and as I said, we can then lift and drop. Now we're all undone, we can just carefully lift the brackets with the exhaust. You can drop those down, and then we should be able to just drop this exhaust through the bottom and out the other side. There we go. These are the brackets that came off the car that hold the exhaust together. These are perfectly reusable. but I do have a new set, so why wouldn't I use them? So they're going to go on. Just to kind of show you how these work while they're off the car. So it goes on like this, the exhaust sitting in this well here. There's a nut welded into that side, and then this is hooped over. That one goes on there with the stud coming through. This one goes on the bottom here, and then a bolt goes through there to tighten and clamp it down. So that's what we'll be doing with the new set. These are exactly the same, but they do not have any grease and terrible stuff on. So nice new set, always a nice thing to put on. Now, to ensure I don't damage the exhaust, scrape it on the ground, etc., I put a sheet down. So just to make sure that we don't do any damage as we move it up. And then we're going to thread this one through, a similar vein to how we took the last one off. Just move it slightly into position. We're going to get our bottom brackets, and we're just going to try and put those roughly in place so that our exhaust can sit on it. I just realised there's a bit of a difference with this one, so it has to go through the pipes. There we go. So that one go there. This one on the back there. So we'll get the 13mm nuts, just put the top ones on the bracket. So with the last thing we took off, just so these brackets stay in place and stop the exhaust from falling. So just to show you that bolt there, sorry, that nut there and that nut there are now on, holding the stopping the exhaust from falling through. The next thing we're going to do is put our manifolds back on to the head. So we've got our nice new gasket here. I'm going to put that on, move the exhaust slightly so not in its way. Just going to thread a bolt through so we can hook the gasket onto it. Get the top one started, and then align the gasket at the bottom, get that one started as well. These both have spring washers on them. Make sure that you get a nice tight bolt. Okay, that's on nice and tight. Now we do the other side. So both manifolds are now attached to the head, and now we need to attach the exhaust to the manifold. So I've already slipped the gasket on the other side because I had to just place the exhaust onto the studs on the other side just to get the manifold in place. There wasn't enough room otherwise. So now we can put this one in, so just slides on, and we'll maneuver the exhaust so that it goes on. I think in order to do this, I'm just going to have to loosen the front bracket here. Actually, it's the rear one, not the front one, so we'll loosen that one off. So I've had to take the bolts off those, nuts off those altogether to be able to maneuver the manifold and exhaust into position. Still not touching there though, so I'm going to start putting a bolt on there and tighten it up and just see where we get to. So the challenge we've now got is I can fit it, close the gap, it fits on. I need to tighten it up, it's not tight yet. But that means the bracket is not going to work on this exhaust. So one of the challenges with aftermarket exhausts is they're not pattern necessarily. So they might require a little bit of fettling when you're installing them. The back one seems to go on okay. Just can't. Let's put the exhaust on properly and tight, and let's see what we can do. So that's the front manifold. I'm going to do the rear one. Okay, so we do have a bit of a problem here. The rear one fits on there nicely. You see it there. The front one doesn't allow any access to that top stud. So I've got a couple of choices. I can make the hole slightly bigger to allow it to drop over, which is probably what I'm going to do, but actually still might leave me with a bit of a problem in attaching the plate, the top plate. Let's just have a look at that a second. So if that, okay, that might still work. So I need to somehow get this out, and I'm not sure I can do it without taking the exhaust back off. Oh, no, I can. Ooh, can I? Because it's under the pipe of the exhaust at the bottom. So it's... Can I manoeuvre it at all? Possibly if I re-loosen the exhaust rather than take it off. Just might have enough wiggle room to squeeze that out. So we'll do that. So just loosened the manifold. You see that there, just loosened off. And now if we go down to our bracket, I can just squeeze it out, I hope. There we go. So somehow I need to elongate this top hole, probably by 2-3 mil. And then hopefully it should all drop in. Okay, so to get the this to fit, I've had to take a little bit of material off the top of this here, off this bracket. Did that with just a file, a round file. But also, if we look under here a second, had to take some material off of this side top bracket as well in order to make this bolt go straight. Now the original bolt that I had on the other exhaust was this length, and I've had to use a manifold bolt that I had just to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. So, but that seems to have worked now. So what I'm going to do is on this one, because I've got the same problem on the bottom bracket on this one, is just take some material off the bottom of here, attach that first, then attach this piece as it lays over, and then hopefully I can get a bolt on, a nut onto the top of these here and over the other side. Just focus on that, and then we should be good. So as you can see, taken some material off the top of here. Now I'm going to place it over the exhaust and do it up and see what happens. So the back is now in place. Took a little bit of fettling, a bit of removing of material, especially from the top bracket where the bolts sit, but now that's nicely fixed, as is the front one. So like I said before, these exhausts are not pattern parts. They do often require a little bit of time, a little bit of moving into position, but we've got there and it's all looking good. So the manifold retightened. Now we need to put the plate back in, which was 2 screws. That's the heat shield back in. Now we can lower off the jack. So just to show you what it looks like in the engine bay all fitted. The actual black makes it look really smart. Nice contrast with the copper and brass there, the gasket. That's how it looks from the back. So it completely changes the look of the car. The original pipe came at an angle, so was heading out in this direction. This one is a straight pipe, so let's start the engine and hear the sound. So that's our new exhaust. That's how it sounded. You can listen to the exhausts back to back and do a comparison and see what you think.